Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Here we are again. Comes around blinking quickly, doesn't it? Great to have an exciting Savvy Says today, the future of the events industry, talking all about virtual, hybrid, how venues can make money off it, how we can all pivot, I guess, and make sure that we're ahead of the curve. Please say hello in the chat box. It would be lovely to see who's here, and say good morning. And we've nearly got through another week of lockdown. Woo! I am very excited to be joined by Chris Ayre today from Ayre Events.
Hello.
Hi. Thanks for coming on.
That's all right. Nothing better than a Friday morning catch up.
Oh, exactly, with a cup of tea. Except we've just been chatting for half an hour, so now we've run out of things to say.
I know. Coffee as well.
I know, me too. We should have gone 5 minutes before and made a cup of tea. Damn it. Really great to have you on. So Chris is here because he is one of our AV partners. So it's fabulous to have you here. We'll discuss that in a little bit. Do you want to talk about yourself? Who are you? Tell us about Chris.
Oh, not like being put on the spot. I'm used to being behind camera and filming everyone.
Business related. Don't go too deep. It's a bit early.
Oh, so I'm single. No joke.
Yeah.
So we're a event production company, specialising in conference and awards, and we do the whole AV rental. Basically, all the boring stuff that people don't really want to bother with until it's last minute, and then they figure out we've not booked a screen. So obviously it's Ayre Event Solutions, and I'm the director of it. 15 years experience in the industry. And
50?
15, not 50. I haven't got that many wrinkles.
Yeah, say over 21.
Thanks. I'll send you that tenner later.
Yeah.
So yeah, we used to be the guys that would be running all the big awards dinners and all the technical for it, and now we're just putting it around in our unit, trying to make sense of a new world and advising clients where we can. So fun.
Yeah, I think that's the same as everybody, just pottering around being like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
We discussed earlier whether your kind of offering has changed much pre-COVID and up to now. And we were saying that.
So, yeah, it's for us, not really, because we've always done that virtual side of conferences. So where it was a multinational conference with overseas delegates and stuff, we've always had that virtual offering to it. So that's not really new. The only thing is that it's more of it now. So less of the in-person stuff and making things look fancy in a big stage, and more of like a virtual small box. And trying to make that look funky as well. So yeah, it's not massively changed, but I do know the industry feels as though it's changed.
Yeah, definitely. The industry's changed massively over the last year. I think everybody seems to have come together. I always felt like we were quite a close industry anyway, and quite kind of good at collaborating and things. But this year's just brought everybody kind of together, I guess.
I think so. I think it's made people talk more as well and ask more questions about stuff. I think that's probably the big thing that we're going to take from the whole world going a bit strange, is that we're having more conversations and things like this, where it's offering up sort of more information to people where they wouldn't have got it before.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's loads of things like these. We're one of lots of them. We're very aware of that. Hopefully ours is good fun as well. So I think we're going to start today by talking a bit about hybrid. It's, as you know, it's a massive passion of mine and the team's, because working with venues, they all need to learn about it in order to kind of stay ahead of the curve. So I thought we'd start by just, if you want to describe what hybrid actually is, because when I blather on about it, then people often stop me and go, what are you talking about?
Can you just go back and tell me?
Yeah. You talked to 10 minutes, but can you just tell me what you're talking about?
Absolutely simple terms, without complicating it with jargon and everything else. Hybrid is a mix of online, virtual, here on this window, and in-person delegates and guests. That's it. Nothing else. Nice and easy.
Okay, so see you later, guys. See you next Friday.
But that might be it. But there's a lot of technology that sits behind all that. So it's
And
not.
I think that's why people get nervous, because I mean, I don't know the tech side. I'm the first to admit that, and it does look scary, and the amount of equipment that you need.
Yeah, it's not to move to a hybrid kind of format. Zoom and Teams just doesn't cut it. No, it doesn't happen. You need cameras, you need mics so you can pick people up properly. You need screens as well if you've got that two-way communication. So a lot of people might fall into a bit of a false sense of security thinking, I'll just take my laptop, put it at front of a conference suite and everyone can see what's going on.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, definitely. I think maybe I've seen some venues trying to get round having to outsource AV by having people like on a laptop on Zoom and then plugging it into the TV and be like, here's your speaker for the day. How have you found that works?
It's interesting, isn't it? It's creative.
Yeah.
It's definitely creative. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and this is where everyone's got to give their mindset a bit of a wobble. You can't do this stuff cheap, basically. You know, you can't wing it, because if you do, it shows massively. You know, if you've got a really low resolution camera and you're trying to broadcast that to someone that's down south or whatever to watch what's going on, the chances are they're probably going to turn off after 10 minutes because they either can't hear it or they can't see it. So, you know, it's just going to damage.
And I guess a big question with hybrid as well is how to make the in-person experience or the virtual experience just as good as the in-person experience. And if the tech isn't there, the virtual attendees are really going to feel second best, aren't they?
Absolutely. Because not only have you kicked off your virtual event delegates and stuff saying they can't attend because you've picked your 10 that can attend, that feel special and like, I've got privileged VIP. You've then sort of sending them a really crappy video feed and stuff. Yeah, it's not a right way of keeping people happy, is it?
So what's your opinion, or what have you found with when we work with venues, they say, but hybrid is so expensive, I can't offer that as an alternative as in person. What's your opinion of that in terms of the overall events? If you're having like 100 people in a hotel for a venue for an event versus 10 people in a room and streaming out to the other 90, the overall cost.
It comes back to, I think cost is always going to be an impact. Everyone knows cost is going to be the decider. But I think venues need to be strong and understand what they're talking about to be able to go and stand in front of a client and say, no, hang on, stop. What I'm telling you is the best course of action, and this is what we recommend. Because a lot of venues, from my experience, have always been quite passive. They've not really been that kind of force for good, trying to push clients into a certain direction that they know is right. And then ultimately the event's being delivered, the client's not happy, and then it just goes around in circles again. So I think venues sort of need to grab the bull by the horns, as it were, and sort of be confident to deliver that. And then I think the cost aspect of it will fit in behind that. You know, there's some big companies that are way bigger than what we are that are going out and charging absolutely thousands of pounds for this kind of stuff. And yeah, it's all right. It looks fancy. They've got 300 million computers turning up in a venue and they've got 60 odd staff running it. But it's choosing between whether that's beneficial for the cost and what's more cost effective. And it's that careful balance to make sure that it's right. You know, some clients will just want to broadcast out and they don't need all the fancy stuff. And so an external camera, a mic and a laptop will do it. But some of the other clients where they want to bring in people remotely or they want fancy presentations on screen, you know, it's all about understanding your client, but being active to support them as well.
Yeah. And I think as well, I know that we have a lot of venue finders or several venue finders on here. I think it's really relevant for you guys as well, because it's not just, you know, the onus doesn't always fall on the venue. It can be, you guys can kind of take it under your wing to learn about it, and then you can filter your clients into the right course of action specifically for them. Yeah.
And I think that's what it's all about. It's all about just acting in the best interest of your client and figuring out what they actually want to do. And the chances are that the client's probably not going to have a bloody clue what they want to do. They just want to put something on screen. but you've got to have the knowledge and the expertise, or at least refer to it, to say to the client, right, okay, have you thought about X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, totally. And that's something, I mean, that's why we've brought partners on board, because I don't know about leads and where to plug them in and all of that stuff. And I don't need to know. I mean, I have my charging cable, but apart from that, but as salespeople in the industry, people who are trying to make revenue off any market, you don't need to know those complete ins and outs, but you do need a basic level of the features and the benefits, as it were, of what's going to be important to the client and the differences between in-person and virtual and hybrid.
Yeah. And it's relationships as well. Like a lot of our clients, if they ring me up and say, right, I've got a customer who's coming into the hotel, they want to have a viewing, I haven't got a foggiest about technology, can you come and have a meeting with us? I'm more than happy. I'll be there with bells and whistles on to make sure that what we're speccing to the client is going to be right. And I think, a lot more people need to be like that.
Yeah, definitely. When you're working with partners and AV companies, that is one of our huge criteria, that they're happy to come on show rounds, be part of the sales process with you, and kind of bridge those gaps between things that as a venue or an agency you don't know and you don't need to know. But it's good to have somebody on board that does. So what is your opinion with in-house AV partners versus people having their own AV on site?
Ooh, controversial.
I know, it is controversial, isn't it?
So full disclaimer, we work with hotels and we've got clients that are hotels. So we are technically the in-house supplier. I think it's all about benchmarking in it. There's some suppliers out there that are really good at providing a projector, a PA system or whatever, and they do that really well. The problem is that they don't have the expertise or the knowledge or the equipment to do this big new fancy hybrid stuff. And as venues, you need to really understand that a lot more than, just sort of booking a projector from someone. You need to understand that that supplier is going to come on site and be able to set stuff up properly and it work. So that's kind of like that aspect of it. But then you've got your other side as well. So if you're a client that's got 6 different events all going to different hotels, it's better to build a relationship direct with an AV supplier who's then going to service all of that stuff rather than using the in-house stuff. Because the chances are it's all going to be different. You're going to turn up and screen might be a different size or different strength projector. So it's definitely worth building relationships yourself as a client, but then also the venue sort of actually physically understanding what that supplier brings to the table other than just projectors. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I think venues, or certainly some venues that I've worked with and worked in previously, kind of what is the phrase? Fly by the seat of your pants, is that right? Yeah. By saying, we have our AV on site that can support you, and then on the day the kind of operations supervisor comes and says, oh, I don't know why your laptop's not working. Oh, I don't know if we've got that lead. And I think there's been a lot of hotels and venues that have been very, very lucky to be able to say they've got on-site AV. But moving forward with the AV getting more and more complicated and requirements getting bigger, and everybody over the last year being a little bit more savvy, not on how it works, but just what's available and how good it can be, I'm not sure we're going to be able to do that much more. We're going to have to either employ specialists and then bring you guys in for the kind of equipment and stuff, or just have partners that you funnel work into.
You see, we've struggled with this for years with venues, and we've always sort of said to venues, look, book a technician to be on site for the first couple of hours at conference, because the client's pacified. Anything happens is going to happen in the first couple of hours. So you've got someone there. But because we've worked with hotels for so many years and we've got really good relationships with them, we've kind of adapted our service to be able to service them properly. So we'll actually go into a new... Oh, Siri's woken up.
And our third guest is...
But we make a conscious effort of going into hotels every quarter that are our clients to train their staff. So we give them really good tidbits about, if that screen's not working, how do you get it to work?
That's so useful.
Yeah, it's worth its weight in gold, because that's our first line of defense. If the client won't book a technician, one of the hotel staff have at least got a bit of knowledge. And then if it's still not working, pick the phone up and speak to us.
Because if AV goes wrong, obviously it reflects badly on you, but it reflects badly on the hotel as well. So it's or the venue. So it's totally in their interest.
Exactly. And that's the problem, that it's not being acknowledged. Like, AV is just something that sort of dithers around in background, and it's only really thought about when it goes wrong. But actually, it should be thought about a lot earlier on when you're building them supply chains, to figure out who's going to be the best supplier that's going to give you a really good service.
Do you know, this is all in our hybrid event course, but working effectively with suppliers and collaborators. I know that everybody's like, collaboration is the new thing, but there has to be an effective partnership in place, and that doesn't have to be monetary. I mean, I'm quite open to say that we've got 3 AV partners. Chris is one of them, and it's not monetary. We're not offering each other commission on bookings, and that is because we want to be able to honestly offer each other up if it's relevant, and kind of work with each other. But obviously it's up to you if you do it on a commission basis, but you have to know what each person is getting from the other. And and I work with a lot of hotels and venues, and they say, oh, we've got an AV supplier already. I'm like, but how long have they been your supplier? How long have they been on your books? How you're proactively selling them every day you get an inquiry? How often are they proactively selling you? All of these things, you know, what amount of support do they give you? Like, that training is so useful for teams to have.
And that's the thing. Like, anytime we get an inquiry from one of our clients, I will always instantly try and refer it onto one of our venues. Just because that's what you do. But
yeah,
we went above and beyond, like, years ago. We built our own custom booking management system as well. So actually, we're saving venues even more time, because you haven't got to do 10 emails to arrange one hire. It's all on our system. So we've built the business around making things easier for everyone. And that's kind of, you know, it needs to be sent the other way as well, that if you've had an AV supply for 10 years, are they still delivering value for money? And are they complacent? Because if they're complacent, the service you're going to get is shit. Well,
probably that's fine. Do what you want. We're pretty casual.
There's no beat button.
That didn't offend anybody, though. No, you're totally right. I think complacency in a business, in any relationship, isn't great. And I think it's worthwhile reviewing. And after our workshops that we do, they always go out to tender. I just say, just go and talk to like 3 different companies and see what they can offer, because there are really good people who support you a lot, like you.
Yeah, because it's all about relationships at the end of the day, because there's nothing worse than having someone in front of your client that's seeing your reputation, and some arse that couldn't give a shit about what service they're providing to that client, and you know, just set stuff up and it looks messy and all this stuff. Because it is, as you said earlier, you know, it's a direct reflection on the hotel. And is that client going to go back?
Yeah. So we've talked loads about hybrid and virtual, not much about the actual future, like our title. We've got so many comments. Let's say hello to people. Hi, Faye. Lovely to see you. Sharon Hilliard, hiya. Diana White is here. Ruth Pollitt, Ellie Pratt. What we're saying, Jess was saying about, here we are, collaboration will get us through. That feels like that's a big boom in the last year, that all these businesses, including us lot, are all working together a lot more closely,
which is good,
which is amazing. Yeah, I love it. Jim Farmery, nice to have you here. Becky, I've totally delivered training in venues that have flown by the seat of their pants with AV. I feel like that should be the name of the next Savvy Says or something. How to not fly by the seat of your pants. Our Swift venue friend is Rachel saying, wow, that's brilliant to train the hotel staff. Ellie's interested in training the team. Such a good idea. Lovely. So my next question is, what? Don't worry, it's pre-planned. I won't put you on the spot. What do you think is going to be the challenges for getting back into the swing of things, back to a little bit of normality in terms of events? Obviously, this big old virus.
Yeah, so I've only got a rubber band ball and not a crystal ball.
Oh, that was in the deal. You were supposed to bring it.
It broke. Sorry.
Oh.
Transition. It's so everyone's still very much in virtual land, aren't they? They're all still virtual land. Here we are. And I think the next thing is going to be hybrids, as we spoke about, and I think that's going to be the bridging gap for the next couple of months, if not year. And I think the thing that's going to dictate that is clients' confidence, big time. It's, like we said earlier, government could release restrictions tomorrow, but every client's thinking, well, they sat at the desk going, shit, we can't put on a conference because we're going to end up with infecting 100 people. So I think that's going to be a really big key thing in moving forward. And until we get that sorted out, I think a lot of the stuff is going to still stay virtual. But yeah, it's kind of anybody's guess. Everyone's trying to make these predictions about, it's going to return in May, or it's going to be October, or later on, or whatever. But I
totally agree. I mean, client confidence is all, the industry is talking about at the moment. I think it's definitely going to be the make or break of the industry. But I also feel like, and wonder what your thoughts are, that it is our responsibility as an industry to prove that and be proactive in proving it. I know that I said to you earlier, back in like November, when we were allowed up to 30 people meetings or whatever it was, I had clients and colleagues who were talking to bookers, to not to venue funders because they were all in the know, but to the direct bookers, and saying, you're allowed to have meetings of up to 30, is there anything you're interested in? And the actual direct bookers in businesses were saying, we didn't realise that. So we, as an industry, we're really being proactive and finding out exactly what we're allowed to do so that we can be able to offer it safely. And then we're sort of sitting here being like, we can do it now, but the don't know. So I think it's going to be a massive, when guidelines change, when we can run it safely, it's going to be a big proactive push from the whole industry, I think.
I think that's the thing though, isn't it? Like, as an industry, and I'm not just talking about like hospitality, I'm talking about the full sort of offering. We've been really crappy at communicating stuff, full stop. I mean, last year, when everyone was cancelling stuff left, right, and centre, as an industry, we didn't go out and go, wait, stop, don't cancel, either postpone it or do a virtual. And the reason why we didn't do that is because we didn't know. Well, we knew, but the wider industry didn't know that you could switch something really quickly to a virtual event. And like we were speaking earlier, the car industry seems to have got hold of the hybrid wording and sort of run with that. And anytime you mention hybrid to someone, they think of a car, which I think is a really good benchmarking activity for us all as industry professionals to say, well, if they've got that phrase and everyone instantly thinks about that straight away, what are we doing as an industry to try and advise our clients? Yeah, what are we doing? And like we said earlier again, there's so many industry representations for us that, all of them need to be singing from same song sheet as well. Then we'll all follow in behind.
Yeah. I think there's a lot. There can sometimes be a case of too many cooks. We need like a one leader to push us ahead.
I vote you.
Oh God, thanks very much. Can I unvote myself? So Amy said, do you think the big players are going to stay with virtual for a lot longer post-COVID or post-lockdown? I don't think there's ever going to be a post-COVID.
Well, yeah, wishful thinking. Do you know what? I think that's a really good question. And it was a conversation I was having with one of our big corporate clients last week. And it's a mixed bag. It is a massive mixed bag because they want everyone to get back into one room again, and they want everyone to be having drinks, and they want everyone to be having that personable, sociable experience again. But then the other part of them is shit scared because they don't want to have that virus break out again. So I think that's going to be one element of it. But then I think some of the other clients, which are not wanting to be too rude about them, but they're cheapskates, they won't want to be putting these events on that used to spending loads of money because they know that virtual is going to be more cost effective to do it. So I think we're going to see probably two strands break out once restrictions start to lift. And we're going to end up seeing like companies who haven't got budgets do the virtual aspect. And then companies that really want to fling open their doors are going to just go all out and spend absolute fortune on it.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. I think everybody's eyes have been opened in the last year to virtual and Zoom and StreamYard like now and all of that stuff. That is free.
Don't forget, video conferencing years ago came out and everyone thought that video conferencing was going to be the death of in-person events. And actually, it wasn't. It found its own niche market and it became used by small conferences and meetings. So I think this might be the same thing.
Yeah. I think that niche market will be bigger just because people are more used to it. I mean, everybody, is predicting that there's going to be a boom in-person events when we're allowed to and when it's safe and when the vaccine's all sorted and everything. There's going to be hopefully a peak. And then I think people will kind of find their feet. And like you say, those inquiries that we were getting through that were really low budget will just be funneled into virtual, which is fine because we weren't getting them anyway because we don't want cheap events.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, they'd be going to hotels wanting DDR rates like a tenner a delegate, and as a venue you can't sustain that. So get rid of it.
So that's fine. Go virtual. Bring me a big business. We've only got a few minutes left now. Rob, lovely to have you here. It's the responsibility of all stakeholders in the event industry to create confidence, event management, sponsors, suppliers, venues, etc. Yeah, totally agree. And I think that there's enough of us to be able to, if we've all got it on our radar that that's what we need to be promoting, then we should get in front of people. Thank you so much, Chris. What a quick it went really super quickly, didn't it?
I know.
I felt like.
You know what? This is the first one that I've done because usually I'm sat behind the camera. So, yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. You can tell.
Professionally coached.
Oh, yeah, sure. Jessica's got a quick question. Are you finding many clients trying to keep virtual in-house rather than still wanting to use a venue and use an AV company?
Yes, for the first event until it goes wrong, then they're going to an AV company.
That's a good answer.
We've seen that already. It was an awards show they tried doing over WebEx, and it went dramatically wrong. So they're not doing it again. They're using an AV company.
Okay, amazing. So, Chris, if you want to promote anything, Chris has got great blogs up on his website. I'll promote that for you. I was just saying that I'd been reading them. They're really vast of information about virtual, hybrid, the wider industry and all of that. So have a look at that. We have, which I think one of my colleagues put in the chat earlier, a selling hybrid events inquiry form, which is free to download. I've put the link in there. So if you are looking to branch into hybrids, that's for suppliers, venues, hotels, and venue finders. And we're talking about this in a lot more, the same amount of detail, but for an hour, with Visit Britain on 23rd of February at 4 p.m. with another AV, one of our lovely AV partners, Matt, which is all about making revenue through this latest trend. And I put the link there to book as well. Yeah, thank you so much, Chris. Have you got anything that you'd like to promote? Anything coming up?
Here's my name and here's my link.
Yeah,
no, I think closing final words from me.
Yeah.
Just keep having conversations. Everyone still needs to keep talking. And if you're a venue and you sat there thinking, this is quite interesting, pick the phone up and speak to your AV supplier. If they can't come back with some decent conversations or some decent knowledge and guidance and stuff like that, find a different supplier.
Call me.
It's too cutthroat at the moment. We need to all be sort of working together and doing some decent stuff for clients and stuff. So, yeah, grab the bull by the horns.
And be proactive. And this is a market that is going to be lucrative over the next year. I mean, we're forecasting it for the mid to long term. People are still going to be doing hybrid over the next 5 or so years, I think. And so if you just don't want to miss out, basically.
Because if you do,
competitors will be doing it. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Really lovely to have so many people here. Have a great weekend.
Bye, everyone.
See you later. Bye.